NXT has got an incredible class at the moment, filled with NXT has always had an incredible roster of talents, going back from sort of like when they really started to get hot in that 2014, 2015 period, right up until now. They've always had some of the best talent available in the world of wrestling. And, from that, as sort of volleys through into here, we've had some champions come off the back of that, like Seth and Roman, current champion Drew. But this current class has got a lot of hot talent, potential big name talent in there. Who do you think from this current crop of NXT stars that we have could be a future WWE champion?
Keith Lee.
There it is. Of course it is. It's big boy Keith.
Yeah, he's my favorite. Right? He's my favorite NXT wrestler. Genuinely borderline my favorite WWE wrestler. I think he's money all day, and I think they know that as well, which is why they put him against Brock. And I think that's why Brock marked out. Brock doesn't mark out to just about anybody. You've got to be properly impressive to get that kind of rub from the Lobster. And he's like the showing he had against Roman Reigns. Like, the guy's money all day. It's a matter of time before he's WWE champion. Start your stop clock.
I was actually slightly gutted that they didn't strike while the iron was hotter. Because he had that big showing against Roman Reigns at Survivor Series. He was quite a focal point of that whole Survivor Series build last year. As you say, he then had that showdown with Brock Lesnar. But now we're here in sort of May, June time, and I know like times are certainly different, but he is still in NXT and he's North American champion. I think after you had that Brock showing, you could have called him up to the main roster then and given him a massive push off the back of that and really built off that Survivor Series moment and the Royal Rumble moment to lead into a big WrestleMania moment. As it stands, he is just back in NXT, just doing what he was doing previously, which is being amazing and being awesome. But you already had a made guy there. All you need to do was just pull the trigger.
I think the waiting is due to the fact they know they've got one really good gate left in Keith Lee, which is Keith Lee versus Adam Cole. That, you could sell a whole show off the back of that match. And I think, I do think we're going to get a Keith Lee NXT title run before he leaves, especially now when things are a little weirder. I think he's dropping the belt to Gargano and straight up card, and then probably a short title reign, and then straight up the card. Let's get the belt on him quick, because he's such a great guy. Speaking of Adam Cole, obviously I could very much see them putting Adam Cole in that sort of AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan work rate champion, get the belt, hold it for a long time, go through a load of champions. I could really see them doing that with him.
Particularly with the Undisputed Era behind him as well, almost in that J&J security type role. Probably taken a little bit more seriously because they'll probably get the tag straps and one of the mid-card titles for Roddy. But I could certainly see them getting a massive push to the Undisputed Era coming up. I think the Undisputed Era will have a much more successful main roster run than Sanity did.
Oh yeah, I mean their gimmick is so much easier for a main roster to understand. They're a bunch of douches, but that damn numbers game. They are I think they're a proper evolution style, and we know Triple H loves them, and I think as long as they come up at the right time, I think they're gonna hold all the gold. One of the things they love to do with a faction is when they've all got a belt. I think that's definitely going to happen. I think if his presentation continues as it currently has, I think Killer Cross could be. I think it would take longer, but that's the best entrance in wrestling right now, and that stuff does carry you places quite quickly. I think we could be looking at in terms of NXT champions. I think we could be looking at Adam Cole, Keith Lee, Karrion Kross. I think they could rush him to the belt.
Yeah. I mean, that was actually one of the reports, was that they were going to not hotshot him, but just sort of skip NXT and go straight to the main roster because they had really high hopes for him. And you're right, like that entrance. Aside, I mean, I think I'm not sure if this is still a controversial opinion, but I do think that the lip syncing part of it needs to go because I think that's quite bad.
No, Luke. No, you're wrong about that. Sashay away. It's absolutely fundamental. I love Scarlett's over egging of the lip syncing. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
I'm singing these words.
Mouth so open. It's so great.
But for me, and this is going to really take, like, I'm thinking this is almost like a Daniel Bryan situation with Matt Riddle, where Matt feels like the sort of guy that will come up to the main roster, should 100% be a main eventer because he's such an incredible talent and has got charisma out the wazoo, that he should be in that upper echelon of WWE. But they're not going to want to see it. Like the management there are going to sort of like, you're in this sort of mid-card level, we're going to keep you down there in the same way they did with Daniel Bryan, but he will get that audience swell and that sort of like backing and backing and backing to the point where they can't ignore it any longer. And that is what's going to propel him to the main roster. I think if he can get the audience behind him, and I think he can, I think Matt Riddle could become WWE champion in spite of WWE.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's a really decent shout. I wonder if Finn Balor will go back up the card. Because you know what, who I can see, because like obviously he's in a feud with Damian Priest now, Priest versus Demon. But I could really see Balor like kind of cleaning house, and maybe not going back. Weirdly, of the two men, if only because those Baron Corbin comparisons won't go away for poor Damian Priest. But I could sort of imagine like kind of them coming in, and like they did with Baron Corbin initially, they kind of hot-shotted him, had him win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, had him win the Money in the Bank, but then Jinder happened, so they decided to kind of just sack that off for a little while, and then he never quite got back there. I could imagine them sort of doing a similar thing with Damian Priest, where he just becomes this horrible, sniveling, Baron Corbin-esque WWE champion that people want to get the belt off for 6 months. I could totally see that happen.